Welcome back. That's a long sentence. I don't know what you're blaming yourself for, Keiichi-kun, but you should stop. I wasn't about to deny it. I couldn't. Even so, I couldn't affirm it either. I wanted to at least keep Lena out of this. If she found out, she would become involved. Oh no. Please, Lena, could you just leave me alone? Even if I went home, I wouldn't be able to sleep. That is just such a strange thing to say there. If I couldn't get to sleep, then I at least wanted to search for Rika-chan and Satoko until I collapsed. The entire village was looking, and yet they still hadn't been found. Oh, that's right, that's where we were. I don't think I'd be able to find them if I went looking alone at this point. Still, I had to do it. They disappeared because of me. I couldn't possibly go to sleep while other people are out there searching. There's just so many dots. Why are there so many dots? It's unnecessary. I had said that to myself in self-deprecation, but I soon realized that Lena was silently trying to find the meaning in my mumblings. I realized I had misspoke. It's Keiichi-kun's fault? Nani? Why do you think that? Why? That can't be. Keiichi-kun, you're not at fault. I was happy that Lena said those things to me, but she only did so because she did not... Oh, one more time. But she only did so because she didn't know the truth. If she knew that everything had been caused by my breaking taboo on the night of Watanagashi, then even Lena would curse my existence. It already feels like one of those days where just the English, the translation, it's just strange. However, I can't even allow for those curses. That would mean confessing my own crimes to Lena. If I spilled even one word of heaven, he's just waffling already. We've been here 2 minutes and he's just said the same thing for 2 minutes. I don't care. Move on. The gentle, spirited, always joking, always howling, but at the time like this, the most dependable person in the world, Lena, might disappear. Stop, just move on. I don't want that. Me too. Anything but that. This time I need to bear my own cross. I swear to God, if he doesn't move on... Keiichi-kun, I know that you always have your friends in your heart. I can really understand feeling like you want to kick yourself. I want to kick him right now. Lena knows, though, that it's not Keiichi-kun's fault. You didn't do anything wrong, Keiichi-kun. Say Keiichi-kun again, I dare you. And I know that. You know that. The shivering in my veins. What? How do your veins shiver? Rushed up my back and replaced the sorrow in my heart with fear. The shivering in my veins. My veins do be a-tremblin'. I didn't tell her anything, did I? Maybe I accidentally said something that caused Lena to figure it out. Why are we waffling? We're now 3 minutes of waffling. This is bad. Now Lena would just, oh my God. Then Lena, the same way I always did, grabbed my head and began to pet it roughly. Moving on. Keiichi-kun, are you thinking that Lena might disappear now too? Because of Oyashiro-sama's curse. She put more force into the hand rubbing my head. Punch him in the face. I dare ya. You don't need to worry about that. Lena isn't going anywhere. I promise. Why? How can you say that with such confidence? I mean, someone's been sacrificed every night so far. There was no proof that it wouldn't happen again tomorrow night. I wish it was me. There was even less proof, after all, that the sacrifice wouldn't be Lena. Oh my God, stop. Just move on, please. If you're going to erase someone, erase me. No, me. Me first. I demand me first. I can't deal with this anymore. Please stop cruelly getting rid of people we're close to, like the mayor for Shion and Nika-chan and Satoko for me. Oh, Shion's hysterical shouting came back to mind. They must be planning to kill us last of all. They're not killing the first people who came to mind. They started by killing those we're close to, and then after they've caused us so much pain, they'll kill us. Lena, please don't disappear. Please don't, as long as I'm still here. I could no longer conceal the sobs welling up. Same. Come on, Keiichi-kun, crying doesn't suit you. You're not my supervisor. Let's go back to the others. The housewives are cooking some miso soup for us. Hell yeah. Let's get that miso soup. It'll warm you up and calm you down. Lena prompted me to stand. I didn't have the energy to oppose her, so I stood as she urged me to. I can't. I'm not in the mood for the waffling today, and this is just especially bad. We returned to the shrine grounds to find several gas stoves there with miso soup in big pots. The many villagers there sipped at the soup they were given in dead stony silence. Their expressions were absolutely exhausted. Everyone had just been running around the village until a little while ago. From the dreary looks on their faces, though, I assumed they hadn't come up with anything yet. Kei-chan, where'd you go? I was worried you disappeared too. Sorry. Mion held out some miso soup for me, but I refused the offer. I didn't have much of an appetite. I mean, it's miso soup. You don't need an appetite to, drink it. Mi-chan, how is it? Did you find any clues? Mion took a sip of her soup, her expression frank. None at all. School ended and they went home. Then the two of them went somewhere on their bicycles. Moreover, nobody ever saw them riding their bikes, so... Moreover... When it gets dark out in Hinamizawa, people quickly vanish from the streets. Aside from adults hurrying back home from town in cars or on bicycles, it was normal to see absolutely nobody walking around outside. It wasn't at all strange that nobody had seen Rika-chan and Satoko riding their bikes. It was the same last night with the mayor. There's no hope. Mion's apathetic tone pricked my nerves, but that anger quickly subsided. She had been doing all sorts of things to try to find Rika-chan until just a second ago. If I asked her, she'd probably say she was up all night last night too looking for the mayor, wouldn't she? She must have been far more fatigued than I was. Seriously, Kei-chan, shut the hell up. You are so whiny. Besides, what about me? I had spent the time hunched over in indecision all alone. I had no right to say anything about Mion. Kei-chan, I know it's hard, but let's turn in for the night. We just decided we should break up the search for now. Drink this and let's call it quits. Is this the end? Oh, we can pray. Oh no, of course not. Once it's bright out again, we'll do a thorough search with the police's help. They could have gone to Okinomiya too. People are even saying we should go through all of Shishibone City investigating whether there are any witnesses for both the girls and the mayor. Anyway, what happened, Kei-chan? Where did you go off to? You vanished all of a sudden. I was really worried. Suddenly, I was on the receiving end, but I didn't have the willpower to respond. Sorry, I'll be more careful. Gosh, he's so whiny. Nothing happened. There wasn't anyone suspicious spying on or stalking you. Nothing like that. Mion demanded with a serious expression. I was being criticized for how inconsiderate I had been. Despite being in so much pain, I was frustrated that I was being criticized. How is she criticizing? What? Huh? She asked you where you were. That's not a criticism. Huh? But it was my sin. What is he talking about? My sin, and I must bear it alone, except for me, who has to read it constantly. Nothing, I'll be careful either way. Sorry. Mion, now aware that nothing had happened, heaved a big sigh with her shoulders. Same. Looking relieved. Oh my, my, my. I knew I smelled something good coming from over here. I'd be much obliged if you'd allow me to have some. We heard the repulsive voice of a fat man. Well, that is incredibly rude. What the hell? It was Oishi-san, trailed by a handful of police officers. That is just... wow, that was unnecessary. He was acting energetically in a way unfitting given the situation. I mean, that's how he always acts. There's not much left, but you can have some if you want. Mion didn't like Oishi-san very much. Her cold attitude, though, didn't seem to bother Oishi-san in the slightest. It was like splashing water in a frog's face. Well now, miso soup leftovers have a bit too much salt for my taste. No way, bro. Salt's the best. Confound it. Would you all like any? He recommended it to his subordinates, but everyone gave dry smiles and refused. So, have the police gotten hold of any clues? Lena's smile was warm enough to replace the miso soup. Oh. Don't you worry, little missy. Everything's fine. We're searching for them real good. He didn't say a word about having found any new clues. In other words, there had been no progress. That sure was an annoying way of beating around the bush. In any case, it really has gotten late. All you youngsters should get on home and get some sleep. It'll be bad for your health otherwise. Bad for my health. Yeah, Kei-chan, Nena, get some rest. These guys get our tax money, they'll handle it from here for us. We're taxpayers too, you know. It's like we're drinking our own piss. What? Nah. What the hell? I really wasn't in the mood for laughter. Oh, Kei-chan, stop being so goddamn whiny. In fact, Oishi-san was the only one laughing like an idiot. No, man, me too. Okay, seriously, please do your best. Let's go home, Keiichi-kun. It'll be harder to wake up tomorrow if we don't. Why does every conversation have to take place 5 times before we're allowed to move on? I swear, move on. I can always bring you home if you need. Kuma-chan, why don't you bring the car around? No thanks. We came on our bicycles, so... No need to worry. We came in a truck. We'll just throw the bikes in the back. We may have gotten pretty sleepy, but we just needed to ride home at this point. I didn't want to bother the police like that. Lena, however, nodded. Okay, if you insist, we'd appreciate it. It's probably safer than if we went back alone. When I thought about it carefully, I realized that Lena's idea was extremely rational. Now that it's decided, let's get a move on, shall we? Okay, bye. Good night. Lena, Kei-chan. Yeah. Mi-chan, you go to bed soon too, okay? Good night. I waved my hand as well, saying goodbye. Rika-chan and Satoko still hadn't been found. My unease, however, was steadily being pushed away by sleepiness. Then I showed the police where our bicycles were so that Oishi-san could haul them up into their truck. He prompted us to get in the back seat. This doesn't look like a truck. I could hear the springs squeaking as I sat down onto a seat that would normally hurt my rear end. That's a sentence, but at this point it was very soft and was more than comfortable enough for me to fall asleep on. Ladies first. We'll start with the little Mrs. house. Where do you live? Thank you. My house is, well... Lena's voice slowly grew distant. I felt myself being sucked into the void of sleep. Ina? Hello? Maebara-san, are you asleep back there? When I came to, it was quiet. The car was parked. Oishi-san was giving me light slaps to the cheek. Rude. It didn't feel good at all, so I woke up immediately. That's a weird way to describe that, but okay. I'm sorry, I just fell asleep. Something was being held right under my nose. A clump of metal. It was a can of coffee. Ina. It's lukewarm by now, but... I don't know how to pronounce that. Is good even at room temperature. Oh, thanks. I mechanically took the can. Mechanically. And opened the pull top. The feeling of the warm, sweet liquid going down my throat awakened my sleepy mind. When my drowsiness receded, I started wanting to know why the car was stopped and why I was offered coffee. Oishi-san, who had been in the driver's seat, had, at some point, moved to the back. Well, that's not creepy. Suddenly, I had a very bad feeling about this. It reminded me of the questioning yesterday at the library. It was already too late by the time I realized I'd made a mistake. Today, of all days, it didn't look like I would be getting away. I had a feeling that until Oishi-san heard what he wanted to, he wouldn't be letting me go. No, please don't get all formal on me. I'm not going to eat you or anything. Maebara-san. Oishi-san gulped down the last of his coffee, then stretched wide, showing me how relaxed he was. Just normal human interactions. That, however, only served to heighten my nervousness. What do you need from me? Need? Oh no, nothing really. You're going to evade the question at this point? What a deeply unreadable man. That is the strangest sentence. Well, I don't need you for anything. I just thought that you might need something from me, Maebara-san. I don't need anything. Oh, I see. Really? Are you sure there's nothing? There was only one side door in the back seat of this truck. In other words, my only exit was blocked off by Oishi-san. I couldn't get away. I could only limply hang my head and maintain my silence. Oishi-san, despite my reticence, relaxed and began smoking a cigarette. The cries of the insects outside seemed to be growing longer and longer, to an amount of time that almost seemed infinite. Yet another strange sentence. Here I was sure that you had something you wanted to talk to me about. Oishi-san exhaled a puff of smoke. Excuse me, that's rude. The windows were open, but the tobacco smoke still accumulated inside the vehicle. You're not allowed to do that these days. How much did Oishi-san know? What did he know, and what did he want to hear from me? If finding out the truth made you disappear, then if I told him, would Oishi-san disappear too? I had a feeling that I didn't need to worry about that in his case. I wonder how all this ended up happening. Oishi-san addressed me in a low tone as if he was talking to himself. How all this ended up happening. How the hell should I know? That was what I wanted to know. You know Jiro Tomitake-san and Mio Takano-san, right? I know you do, because I personally witnessed you with them during the festival, along with Shion Sonozaki-san. Do you know how Tomitake-san and Takano-san are doing now? This novel could honestly be half the length. They've actually, passed away. They met very untimely deaths. Oishi-san probably played that card in order to surprise me. However, I already knew and didn't display the extreme reaction he expected. What's this? Did you already know? Unfortunately, for this question in particular, remaining silent was equivalent to saying yes. Oh, so then you did also know. The reason Tomitake-san and Takano-san were cursed like that? People are saying that apparently they went into some forbidden building. The storehouse for ritual implements. That forbidden shed, sealing away Hinamizawa's blood-stained past. Where the mistake that started it all happened. Do you know about the rumors? They say the mayor and Rika Furude-san were cursed because of that too. That would mean it was mine and Shion's fault. He was right. As soon as we revealed what we did... What did they call it? A ritual storehouse? They're saying it was bad luck. The lock to it had been replaced by a simpler one, which made it easier for thieves to get inside. Nani? This was news to me. Until last year, it apparently had these big bars and a huge padlock on it. I mean, you know, ever since the priest and his wife passed away, Rika Furude-san has been managing the place, right? Apparently, she talked to the mayor saying she wanted them replaced with a lighter, more simpler padlock because the bars were too heavy for her. I didn't know anything about those big bars he was talking about, but the lock had certainly been a simple one. It was a pretty cheap one too, and didn't really fit with my impression of what a lock for a place you'd store something as important as ritual implements would look like. Why is that sentence so long? Rika-san is a small girl, after all. The bars were heavy with rust, and they must have caused her a lot of trouble. So the mayor hired a craftsman and replaced the lock with a simple padlock so she could open it with a key. So how does that mean it was bad luck? Here's what I'm saying. Thieves couldn't get in with the old tight lock. The mayor and Rika-san replaced it with a cheap lock and key on their own, so thieves broke into it. Apparently that's how it's going down. That explanations a bit. Indeed, that does explanation a bit. Letting that slide. Certain members of the village delivered punishment upon the thieves who stole into the ritual storehouse, as well as the mayor and Rika-san who changed the lock. At least, those are the whispers that seem to be going around. Mayabara-san, what do you think? What do I think? I don't really know what you mean by certain members of the village. Are you familiar with the three families? Oh, yes, I am. Representatives from each of them gave short addresses at the Watanagashi Festival's opening ceremony. Did you see them? I came partway through the festival, so I don't really. The three families are the three oldest families in Hinamizawa. Indeed. To give actual names, the Kimiyoshi family, the Sonozaki family, and the Furude family. They each have quite the lineage, it seems. Long ago, it said that everything in the village was decided by a council of the three families. Yes, I know. The Kimiyoshi family, Old Man Kimiyoshi, meaning the mayor's family. The Sonozaki family was Mion's. Yes, we know. We've covered this like several times now. So the Furude family was Rika-chan's family then. After the war, the Sonozaki family quickly expanded their influence. Practically speaking, after leading the fight against the construction during the dam conflict, they jumped to the top of the hierarchy in Hinamizawa. You see though, in accordance with the old ways, they still decide important village matters only after consulting with the three families. That's why the leaders of the three families each have their own address at the start of the Watanagashi. In other words, the mayor, the old lady currently in charge of the Sonozaki family, and the last remaining member of the Furude family, Rika-san. I heard that the Sonozaki family was pretty high up there, so Rika-chan's family was just as old. Well, as you're aware, she has no relatives at all. In reality, the Furude family holds pretty much no influence. However, it seems like people gravitate towards Rika-san on a personal level, and I hear that many of the village's elderly have blind faith in her. It was certainly true that Rika-chan had an odd sort of charisma amongst the elderly. Okay, so what are you telling me about all this three families stuff for? Oishi-san paused for emphasis, lighting another cigarette. I've explained a lot, but I suppose it's still not enough. I'm asking because I don't understand. Same. Oishi-san gave me a dry, meaningful grin and blew out another big puff of smoke. Members of the three families are disappearing one after the other. That's what I'm talking about. I've read that it's based on some kind of old traditions inherent in Hinamizawa, but I don't know much beyond that. I don't know anything about it either. That's why I'm asking. The leaders of the Kimiyoshi and Furude families have disappeared, so maybe the leader of the Sonozaki family will disappear next. Well, that's just a random idea bouncing around in my head at the moment. No, Just kidding, really. The leader of the Sonozaki family? Who is it? The current leader is the old lady at their main house, but it wouldn't be incorrect to say that practically all the rights of leadership... It wouldn't be incorrect to say that practically all the rights of leadership been transferred to her granddaughter Mion-san. How do so many typos get through? There are so many, it's like every few pages. The visage of Mion giving prompt directions to the adults while searching for Rika-chan sprung back to mind. Mion? She's gonna disappear? I hadn't even thought of that possibility. All my hair stood on end. That's insane. Nobody wants that, right? Of course not. We can't allow that. Clamp. Oishi-san grabbed my shoulders with both hands. Then help us, Maebara-san. If there's anything you've noticed about Mion Sonozaki lately, please tell me. I was going along with him. By the time I'd realized it, it was too late. Oishi-san brought his face in closer, almost close enough to ram into me, waiting for my next words. This pressure. I can't tear my eyes away from his. That moment, I heard a beeping sound. It was from the driver's seat. He ignored it at first, but then it started to bother him, so he finally let go of me and leaned into the driver's seat. Yellow? Yep, loud and clear. I was saved. Of course, it's not like I could escape through this opening. I see. Yes, all right. Let's head back then. Yes. Okay. Apparently he was being recalled. Now that I knew I'd be freed, the tension in my body dissipated all at once. It looks like I need to get going. We were just getting to the good part too. That's too bad. Oishi-san flung open the door, exited, and walked around the front to the driver's seat. He left the door open. Did that mean I could leave? You really care about your friends, Maebara-san. An admirable trait for a kid to have in this day and age. I totally understand that it feels like you'd be betraying them if you told the police anything. Maebara-san, it's the middle of the night, so get a good night's sleep and then think about it. Just a little bit of courage from you might end up being what saves many of your friends in the end. Did he want to say that the sacrifices wouldn't stop with Rika-chan and Satoko? You know this already, but every night since Watanagashi, something has happened. In the past, the curse only occurred once per year, but this time it's been going on for days. What a prosperous year this has been. I don't think you can call that prosperous. The night before last night, and now today. There's no proof that something won't happen tomorrow night as well. It's our job to prevent such things before they happen, but for that, we need your cooperation, Maebara-san. I looked out the open door to see none other than my own house right in front of me. It creeped me out that he knew my name and address, but I was too sleepy right now. I was too sleepy to care. Well, you're probably tired. It's already 3 a.m. Please get yourself a good rest. Yes, sir. I'll be going now. When I was about to get out of the truck, as if to deliver a parting blow, Oishi-san said in a raised voice, I'll be coming by every day until you feel like talking, alright? I don't believe forcing you to confess in an interrogation room is really in fashion these days. I couldn't say anything in response, but me slamming the door shut probably served the same purpose. After lightly beeping the horn, Oishi-san's truck drove off. I went to the front door without waving goodbye. The door was locked, but the chain wasn't up. I unlocked the door and entered. Then walked over to the staircase. That was where I lost consciousness. These things happen. My goodness, there was so much waffling in the beginning. Yes, tips. Ooh, empty-handed, go home already. Alright, we got a lot to read. Let's go. I like these. They're actually interesting. The Sonozaki family. The one to drastically expand its influence after the war was the Sonozaki family. The leader at the time was Oryo Sonozaki, who still has that seat today. Oryo Sonozaki has grown old, and today you can only catch a glimpse of who she was at the time. From what I've been told, however, she was a leader extolled as the best in history. Having become so old, aside from going out a few times a week for lessons, she spends her time at home in solitude, and seems to leave most of the ceremonial affairs to her heir, Mion. There are different views on why the successor was not her daughter, but her granddaughter Mion, but it's rumored that it has to do with disownment of her daughter and son-in-law. That uninhibited granddaughter, Mion Sonozaki, still shows no signs of the dignity required of the next leader. Well, that's rude. However, she does have Sonozaki blood in her veins and is permitted the name of Demon. She still doubtlessly requires caution and is probably hiding her fangs and claws as skillfully as the leaders of the past did. Yes, the postal worker hasn't seen anything either. The Sonozaki main house has their seal hanging from the postbox so that anyone can stamp their mail or parcels with it and drop it in. No, that's rather careless of them. So when was she last seen? She was last seen at the Watanagashi opening ceremony greetings. She apparently returned home right after that. Well, she is pretty old. From what I've heard, she goes out a few times a week to take lessons, right? Have you found anything out about that? Every Monday she goes to the assembly hall to practice the Taisho Goto, but she didn't go this week. Any calls to say she wasn't going to be there? Has anyone confirmed it? No, nobody. She apparently takes days off once in a while though, so no one thought it was strange. Tomorrow, why don't we pretend we're in the town hall and call around 10 o'clock? Please figure out whether she's at home. 10 o'clock, got it. Ever since it started to seem more and more like ancient Hinamizawa traditions had something to do with all this, he'd been keeping a careful eye on the three families. At this point, the leader of the Kimiyoshi family and the leader of the Furude family had disappeared. There was only one leader left. Oryo Sonozaki, the leader of the Sonozaki family. She was apparently a pretty old woman. Her dignity hasn't waned, but she still only appeared before people rarely, so it was difficult to confirm where she was at any given time. She, the last leader, hadn't been seen since the day of Watanagashi. Was she still alive and well within the Sonozaki main house? Or had she? According to Mion Sonozaki, she had fallen ill and was sleeping it off. I wonder if she's really sleeping. I'd like to take a look at her face and her pulse. You can say that again. I would love to look at someone's pulse. The two of them breathed out a big puff of cigarette smoke. Oishi-san, about the search warrants for the Sonozaki main house and the Furude shrine. Do you think we'll get them? Oishi-san didn't respond, exhaled another cloud of tobacco smoke. His surroundings now as foggy as his mind. The hidden demon. The inhabitants of Hinamizawa believe that the blood of demons flows in their blood. As such, the character for demon, Oni, is treated as very sacred. It's a cool kanji, I like that one. For example, usage of the character Oni in names is apparently a right reserved for only the leaders of the Kimiyoshi and the Sonozaki families. Case in point, we can see it in the current Sonozaki family leader's name. Oryo is written with the character that. That's cool. This and only this is proof that she is a legitimate leader of the Sonozaki family. In the same way, Mion Sonozaki, its successor, contains Oni in her name with Mi being written as Mi. Naruhodo ne. It also goes for Oryo's daughter and Mion's mother, Akane, who did not succeed her. It's known that before the disowning, Akane's name was actually written as Akane, though it was changed afterwards to Akane, still read as Akane. Incidentally, it's thought that the first character, the Mayor Kiichiro's name, Ki, originally meant demon, which can also be read as Ki. I'm pretty sure that's the ki in Kisaragi. Well, it's often used in Kisaragi. It should be said that names using the character Oni aren't limited only to successors of the Sonozaki family. You can even find it in the last names of the three families. For example, the characters for Kimiyoshi are likely a split-up version of Oni. If you write it in reverse and top to bottom as, it clearly resembles the character Oni. As for the Furude family, old hand, who have been in the Shinto priesthood for generations, the word for fortune teller can be written without interval characters as such. Fortune hand. I think that with the addition of a demon's horn, the tick on the top of the character Oni, the old, became the this, that is used in their name now. In the case of the Sonozaki family, where Sonozaki is written, Sonozaki, I can't find any reference to the character Oni, perhaps because it's already ingrained into their first names. They were the clan responsible for running the Watanagashi ceremony, so I think that instead they included the contents of that ceremony into their last name. The Zaki in Sonozaki is a conjugation of the word for slice, and the sono, written as sono, probably contains the hidden meaning of human body, as it is a complicated mess, organs, enclosed by four sides. Indeed. I think, in other words, that Sonozaki comes from those who slice open the gut. Indeed. That's one way of explaining that name. What? Alright, last one. Oh wait, no, are there more? No, just these ones. Alright. Last one. I'm back! How did it go? Did you find any clues? The officers shook their heads in disappointment. Exhaustion was plainly showing on everyone's faces. That was only natural. None of them had gotten a wink of sleep since the day of Watanagashi. Chief, let the youngest of us take a nap and then switch them out. We've got a long stretch ahead of us after all. Let's not push ourselves too hard. Rest up so we can take it easy as we go. I've been telling them to sleep in shifts. Nobody actually seems willing to sleep, though. Could you tell them yourself, Oishi-san? Oh my. You don't need to force yourselves. Komiyama-kun, please let everyone sleep in shifts starting with the youngest. Komiyama-san, please do that. After the chief told him as well, Komiyama-san left his seat. So, chief, still no good on our request? It's just a rumor among the villagers in the first place, you know. It's going to be difficult without more concrete evidence. Even when that evidence might be tucked away in there. We need evidence that evidence is tucked away in there. Chief, don't start speaking in riddles to me now. We have witnesses that say 4 people, including the 2 who died, went into the forbidden ritual storehouse without permission. This is all reliable information. You might call it information, but they're really only rumors. They're not concrete evidence. Well, it's true we don't have any pictures of the 4 of them sneaking in with cloth tied around their heads. Anyway, those 4 saw something inside the storehouse. Something important enough that they'd be erased. Important enough that they'd be erased. What would that be exactly? That's why I'm asking for a warrant to go looking for it in the first place. Anything pointing out the Sonozaki family's connections to violent organizations would be a major contender. Like a pile of, Tokarevs or a secret poppy production facility. Huh. The secret Sonozaki family fortune would also be pretty difficult to discard. Look, Oishi-san, I know how you feel. However, that storehouse is a sacred building belonging to the Furude Shrine, and we need to have proper consideration for the locals when dealing with it. I heard that there was an hour-long call made from Congressman Sonozaki to the big man. Chief, could he have nailed you back down? Anyway, as long as we don't have suitable evidence, we won't get a search warrant for the storehouse. That goes for the Sonozaki main house too, especially considering that's the jurisdiction of both Section 4 and the Prefectural Police's Crime Prevention Division. We need careful preparations first. If you say you need preparations, then why don't you just let me talk with them directly? Shige-chan is the head of Section 4, right? For crime prevention, it's Yamaumi-san. They seem like they'd be quicker to talk if I sat down at a mahjong table. Chief, you have a visitor. We have a visitor. Yikes. Pushing the employee who guided him in right out of the way was an old man who looked like a Yakuza member, given his crested kimono and hakama. Did he not get enough of this over the phone? I am Congressman Sonozaki. I demand to know who's responsible for this. This instant. Yellow? I am the division chief, Takasugi. I don't need your name. I could have you demoted on a whim. You wouldn't even be enough. Bring out the one called Oishi or whatever. He deserves punishment for requesting a search warrant on the sacred Furude Shrine. I sincerely apologize. Oishi-san is currently out on investigation and he's been difficult to contact. I'll take his place and hear you out. So please have a seat. The chief's eyes were telling me to get out of here. Perhaps I'll gratefully accept this favor. Maybe I'll go lay down in the nap room. Listen here. The Furude Shrine spent 2,600 years under the imperial calendar and 2,500 more beyond that. It is sacred, a sanctuary that must never be defiled. The 800,000 gods, or Yashiro-sama, and the spirits of our ancestors are enshrined there. The holy shrine protects Hinamizawa, and when the sun comes up to when it sets, and from when the moon rises to when it falls. Why does it say 800,000? Isn't that just 8 million? They just literally translated how the Japanese numbers are counted. Who is the idiot who wanted to set foot in there? Besides, the right to religion is the most revered right of the people in this country in the Constitution. You dare to be so bold as to sully that using your own investigation's negligence as pretext. I will not allow it. Are you listening, you lying scum? I'm angry now, so you're not getting off the hook that easily. Oh. Okay, that's all of them. Alright, actually, we're going to end this episode here because we've gone a little over time, but there were lots of tips. Alright, well, aside from like the 15 minutes of waffling at the beginning, at least we got some good stuff at the end. Come back next week. Hopefully there's less waffling and more story. I'll see you guys then. See ya.